Welcome back my channel Old Cryptocoin and new video Liberty 1 cent 3 coin. United States of America. Imagine holding a small copper coin that has quietly traveled through decades of American history, passing from one pocket to another, while witnessing countless ordinary moments that eventually transformed into an object of fascination for collectors. At first glance, the Liberty 1 cent coin may appear simple, but every detail tells part of a much larger story about the craftsmanship, economic conditions, and minting practices of its era. The warm color of the metal, the carefully engraved portrait, the balanced lettering, and the distinctive rim all reflect precision that United States mint engravers sought to achieve. Even coins that spent years in circulation can preserve tiny clues about their journey, making each surviving example slightly different from the next. These subtle differences have inspired generations of collectors to study even the smallest details, proving that remarkable stories are often hidden inside the most ordinary objects. As the coin moved through the minting process, enormous mechanical presses transformed blank metal planchets into finished cents with remarkable speed. Yet, no production run was ever completely identical. Slight adjustments to dies, normal wear during manufacturing, differences in striking pressure, and routine maintenance of mint equipment could all leave small characteristics that specialists enjoy identifying today. Some coins display sharper lettering, stronger design elements, or more defined edges, while others reveal softer details created by normal die fatigue. These variations are part of the coin's historical identity rather than flaws, offering collectors an opportunity to compare examples and better understand how large-scale coin production evolved over time. Studying these details connects modern enthusiasts with the technology and craftsmanship that shaped everyday American currency. Visual appeal plays an equally important role in collector interest. A well-preserved Liberty cent often displays attractive surfaces, balanced color, and crisp design features that immediately stand out under proper lighting. Depending on storage conditions and circulation history, the copper may develop rich brown shades, warm red-brown tones, or traces of original mint luster that survived decades of handling. Collectors also pay close attention to the portrait, date, lettering, rim, and reverse design because these areas often reveal how carefully the coin was struck and preserved. Even tiny differences in spacing, alignment, or the appearance of individual letters can become interesting research topics within the collecting community, especially when comparing coins produced at different mint facilities or during different production periods. Over the years, experienced numismatists have discovered that some Liberty 1 cent coins exhibit unusual mint characteristics that attract additional attention. These may include verified double design elements, off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks on applicable issues, or other genuine mint-made varieties that occurred during production. However, identifying authentic mint errors requires careful examination because normal circulation damage, environmental wear, or post-mint alterations can sometimes resemble legitimate varieties. This is why knowledgeable collectors rely on magnification, precise measurements, and comparisons with documented examples before reaching conclusions. The process of investigation often becomes just as rewarding as the search itself, turning every coin into a miniature historical puzzle waiting to be understood. When conversations shift toward market value, reality becomes especially important. Most circulated Liberty 1 cent coins remain affordable collectibles that are appreciated primarily for their historical significance rather than their price. Values can vary widely depending on the exact date, mint location, condition, originality, and current collector demand. Published price guides, auction archives, and collector discussions frequently provide estimated ranges, but these figures change over time as new examples enter the market and collecting interests evolve. No single price applies to every coin, and identical dates may sell for very different amounts because preservation quality and eye appeal can dramatically influence collector interest. Higher grade examples naturally receive greater attention because they preserve more of the original design and surface quality. Coins that have been professionally authenticated and graded may command stronger prices when they combine exceptional preservation with desirable characteristics recognized by the collecting community. Likewise, genuine mint error coins verified by respected grading services sometimes attract competitive bidding from specialists who appreciate their rarity and historical significance. In uncommon situations, particularly scarce high-grade specimens or authenticated mint era varieties have achieved impressive auction or private sale results. Even so, these outcomes depend on rarity, condition, certification, collector demand, and the specific circumstances of each sale, and all reported values should be viewed as estimates based on auction records, collector discussions, or broader market observations rather than guaranteed outcomes. If you ever examine a Liberty 1 cent coin yourself, approach it with patience and curiosity instead of assumptions. Compare the coin's weight with official specifications, observe the metal appearance under good lighting, inspect the strike alignment, study the rim for unusual features, and carefully examine the lettering for genuine variations rather than damage. Avoid cleaning or polishing the coin, since even well-intended cleaning can reduce collector appeal and potentially lower its market value. Before making any buying or selling decision involving a potentially valuable example, consider obtaining professional authentication or grading from a recognized numismatic service. Expert evaluation helps confirm authenticity, identify legitimate varieties, and provide more reliable understanding of the coin's condition within today's collector market. The enduring fascination of the Liberty 1 cent coin comes not from promises of wealth, but from its ability to connect modern collectors with a tangible piece of American history that has survived through generations of change. Step 1, Liberty 1 cent 1962, United States of America. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking penny that may have quietly traveled through countless hands, cash registers, family piggy banks, and neighborhood stores during one of the most fascinating decades in American history. The 1962 Lincoln cent is often overlooked because millions were produced, yet that everyday appearance is exactly what makes it such an interesting collectible today. Every small scratch, every softened detail, and every surviving original surface tells a story about decades of circulation and preservation. While many examples spent years in commerce, others remain carefully tucked away in rolls, jars, or collections, allowing modern collectors to compare coins that live dramatically different lives despite being struck in the same year. This contrast between common circulation and exceptional preservation has made the 1962 cent a fascinating subject for collectors who appreciate history hidden inside the smallest pieces of American currency. During 1962, the United States Mint continued producing Lincoln cents at both the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, identified by a small D beneath the date. These coins were struck before the major composition changes that would occur decades later, meaning they were produced from a bronze alloy consisting primarily of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. That rich copper composition gives original pieces a warm reddish color when carefully preserved, while circulated examples often develop attractive brown or chocolate tones through natural aging. Collectors frequently enjoy comparing examples from different mints because subtle differences in strike quality, die preparation, and overall appearance can create noticeable variations even among coins produced during the same year. These small differences add depth to collecting without changing the historical identity of the coin itself. A closer examination of the design reveals why the 1962 Lincoln cent continues to attract attention from both experienced collectors and newcomers. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln with the word Liberty positioned to the left and the date on the right, while the reverse displays a familiar wheat-free memorial design introduced in 1959. The Lincoln Memorial is carefully engraved with remarkable architectural detail, considering the coin's small size, and under magnification, collectors often study the sharpness of the columns, lettering, and surrounding fields. Tiny differences in strike strength can affect how clearly these details appear, making two coins in the same year look surprisingly different. Collectors often search for crisp lettering, well-defined rims, balanced strike alignment, and surfaces that remain as close as possible to their original condition after decades of existence. As interest in Lincoln cents has grown over the years, collectors have also become increasingly attentive to possible mint-made varieties and production irregularities. While the overwhelming majority of 1962 cents are entirely normal, specialists carefully inspect coins for authenticated mint errors, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die chips, broad strikes, or other genuine manufacturing anomalies created during the minting process. It is important to distinguish these true mint errors from ordinary damage caused after the coin entered circulation. Scratches, dents, corrosion, environmental exposure, and machine damage may appear unusual, but generally do not increase collectible value. Because many alterations can resemble legitimate mint errors, experienced collectors often rely on professional authentication before assigning significance to any unusual feature discovered on a coin. Condition plays an enormous role in collector interest, often making a dramatic difference between otherwise similar coins. A heavily circulated example may display smooth high points, faded lettering, and darker surfaces, while an uncirculated specimen can still exhibit bright mint luster, sharp design elements, and minimal signs of handling. Collectors frequently evaluate color classifications such as red, red-brown, and brown, especially for bronze Lincoln cents, because original color can influence desirability. Coins that have avoided cleaning, polishing, or harsh environmental exposure generally receive stronger attention than pieces showing obvious alterations. Careful storage over many decades has allowed some remarkable survivors to retain an appearance surprisingly close to the day they left the mint, making them especially attractive to enthusiasts who appreciate originality above all else. When discussing market value, it is important to remember that no single price applies to every 1962 Lincoln cent. Typical circulated examples are usually worth only modest amounts, while attractive uncirculated coins with strong eye appeal may command noticeably higher collector prices. Certified high-grade specimens authenticated by respected grading services can sometimes achieve substantially larger values when demand is strong, particularly if they possess exceptional preservation or unusually attractive surfaces. Likewise, verified mint error coins documented by professional experts may attract significant collector attention and, in rare situations, realize impressive auction or private sale prices. However, every value should be viewed only as an estimate based on collector discussions, published auction records, dealer listings, or current market observations, rather than any guarantee of future performance or financial return. Anyone examining a potential collectible example should approach the process carefully and methodically. Begin by checking the coin's weight, confirming the expected bronze appearance, studying the strike alignment, inspecting the rim for consistency, and comparing the lettering for unusual characteristics that could indicate a recognized variety or genuine mint error. Good lighting and magnification can reveal details that are difficult to notice with the naked eye, but they can also expose ordinary where that should not be mistaken for rarity. If a coin appears unusually well preserved or displays characteristics that seem different from standard examples, professional authentication and grading remain the most reliable way to verify its identity, condition, and authenticity before making any buying or selling decisions. Responsible collecting always places careful research ahead of excitement. Step 2, Liberty 1 cent, 1972, United States of America. Imagine reaching into an old jar of forgotten pocket change and discovering a small copper-colored coin that has quietly witnessed more than half a century of American history. The 1972 Liberty 1 cent may appear ordinary at first glance, yet every surviving example carries the story of an era shaped by changing technology, economic challenges, and millions of everyday transactions across the United States. Produced during a time when the Lincoln cent was one of the nation's most familiar coins, this piece traveled through grocery stores, gas stations, schools, and family cash registers before eventually finding its way into collections. While countless examples circulated heavily, others escaped years of wear, preserving tiny details that continue to fascinate collectors who appreciate both American history and the craftsmanship behind everyday coinage. The 1972 Lincoln cent was struck primarily from an alloy consisting mostly of copper with small amount of tin and zinc, giving it the warm reddish tone that many collectors associate with classic American cents. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's enduring portrait alongside the word Liberty and the date, while the reverse displays a familiar Lincoln Memorial design that represented the nation's respect for one of its greatest presidents. Depending on where the coin was produced, examples may carry no mint mark for Philadelphia or a D mint mark for Denver. Although billions were minted, experienced collectors know that even among large production numbers, subtle differences in strike quality, luster, color preservation, and die characteristics can make one coin stand apart from another. As the years passed, these cents experienced every kind of circulation imaginable. Many developed dark brown surfaces after decades of handling, while others retain attractive red or red-brown color because they were stored carefully shortly after leaving the mint. Coins preserved in original rolls, bank-wrapped packages, or long-forgotten collections sometimes display remarkable mint brilliance that offers a glimpse of how they appeared on the day they were struck. Collectors often study the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the memorial columns, the crispness of the lettering, and the condition of the rims to better understand how well a particular coin survived the passage of time. These visual characteristics help tell the unique journey of every individual example. Adding even more intrigue, specialists frequently examine 1972 cents for possible die varieties, strike irregularities, and genuine mint errors that occasionally occur during production process. Certain double design elements, off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planchets, or other verified mint-made characteristics can attract additional collector attention when properly authenticated. However, many marks that appear unusual are actually the result of circulation damage, environmental exposure, or post-mint alterations rather than true mint errors. That is why careful examination under proper lighting and magnification remains an important part of responsible collecting, allowing enthusiasts to separate ordinary, from legitimate production varieties that deserve closer study. When conversations turn toward value, the story becomes even more interesting because condition often matters far more than age alone. A well-circulated 1972 Lincoln cent usually carries only modest collector value, while attractive uncirculated examples with original mint luster may command noticeably stronger interest from collectors assembling high-quality sets. Certified coins receiving premium grades from respected grading services generally attract greater confidence in the marketplace because buyers can rely on consistent standards of authenticity and preservation. Every estimate, however, depends on current collector demand, available supply, eye appeal, and the specific characteristics of the individual coin, rather than simply its date. Verified mint error examples or exceptionally preserved high-grade coins have occasionally achieved significantly higher prices in auctions or private sales, especially when their rarity has been confirmed through professional examination. Some remarkable pieces have generated impressive attention because of outstanding preservation or unusual minting characteristics, but these results represent exceptional cases rather than typical outcomes. Market prices constantly change as collector interest evolves, meaning that published values, auction records, and online discussions should always be viewed as estimates instead of guarantees. No single price applies to every 1972 cent, and careful research remains essential before assigning value to any specific coin. For anyone examining a 1972 Liberty 1 cent, patience and close observation are among the most valuable tools. Compare the coin's weight with official specifications, observe the metal's natural appearance, inspect the strike alignment, study the rim for unusual characteristics, and examine every letter and number for possible variations or signs of doubling. Proper lighting, a quality magnifier, and careful handling can reveal details that are easily overlooked. Before making any buying or selling decisions, it is wise to seek professional authentication or grading, particularly if a coin appears unusually well preserved or displays characteristics that may indicate a genuine mint error. Professional evaluation helps establish authenticity and provide a more reliable basis for understanding collector interest. The true appeal of the 1972 Liberty 1 cent lies not in promises of extraordinary wealth, but in the remarkable history that such a small object can preserve. Every scratch, every surviving mint detail, and every carefully stored, uncirculated example reminds us that ordinary coins often become extraordinary windows into America's past when viewed through the eyes of collectors. Whether your coin turns out to be a common circulation piece or a fascinating collectible with unusual characteristics, the excitement comes from the search, the research, and the stories uncovered along the way. If you enjoy exploring historic American coins, uncovering mint varieties, and learning how everyday pocket change can reveal hidden chapters of numismatic history, be sure to subscribe for more historical coin discoveries and collecting stories in future videos. Step 3 and last step, Liberty 1 cent 1988, United States of America. Imagine reaching into a pocket full of ordinary change and pulling out a coin that most people would spend without a second glance. Yet collectors might pause to inspect under a bright light. The 1988 Lincoln Memorial Cent represents a fascinating chapter in modern American coinage, produced during a period when the United States Mint had refined its copper-plated zinc composition after the major metal change earlier in the decade. Although millions of these cents entered circulation, Every surviving example carries its own story shaped by the presses that struck it, the hands that exchanged it, and the decades it spent traveling through stores, banks, and family collections. What appears at first to be just another penny slowly becomes a window into late 20th century American history, where technology, manufacturing precision, and everyday commerce all came together in a coin that continues to spark curiosity among collectors today. The obverse displays a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln with a calm and dignified appearance, while the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date create a balanced design recognized across generations. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands with remarkable architectural detail, rewarding careful observation under magnification. Depending on the strength of the strike, tiny design elements may appear especially crisp, while other coins show softer details because of normal production differences. Collectors often appreciate how even subtle changes in luster, color, and surface texture can transform two coins of the same date into remarkably different collectible pieces. Bright original mint red examples often attract attention, while mellow red, brown, and brown pieces tell the story of natural aging through circulation and storage over many years. The 1988 cent was produced at multiple United States mint facilities, creating small but meaningful mint mark variations that encourage collectors to compare examples side by side. Coins without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, while those carrying the familiar D came from Denver. Careful researchers also pay attention to less obvious production differences that occasionally emerge during die preparation, die replacement, or normal manufacturing adjustments. While most coins match standard specifications, specialists sometimes discover unusual strike characteristics, repunch details, double design elements, die cracks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or other genuine mint errors that occur during production rather than through damage after leaving the mint. These unusual pieces remain a small fraction of total production, making proper examination and authentication especially important before reaching any conclusions about rarity. As these cents circulated across the country, each one accumulated evidence of its journey. Tiny contact marks, faded luster, worn lettering, and softened design features became part of the coin's individual history. At the same time, many examples escaped heavy circulation because people saved rolls directly from banks or tucked away bright new cents in albums shortly after release. Decades later, those carefully preserved coins often display significantly stronger eye appeal than their circulated counterparts. This contrast between common circulated pieces and sharply preserved uncirculated examples creates much of the excitement surrounding modern Lincoln cent collecting, proving that condition can dramatically influence collector interest even when the date itself is widely available. Examining a 1988 Lincoln cent carefully requires patience rather than assumptions. Collectors often begin by checking the coin's weight, confirming that it matches normal mint specifications for its composition, while also studying the metal appearance for signs of alteration or environmental damage. They continue by inspecting the strike alignment, rim shape, lettering quality, and spacing between design elements using proper lighting and magnification. Comparing suspected varieties with verified reference images can prevent costly mistakes, since ordinary wear scratches or post-mint damage may sometimes resemble genuine mint errors to an untrained eye. Responsible collecting always favors careful observation supported by reliable references instead of quick conclusions based on rumors or internet speculation. When conversations turn toward value, realism becomes just as important as enthusiasm. Most circulated 1988 Lincoln cents remain affordable collector coins, often worth only modest premiums above face value, depending on condition and local demand. Attractive uncirculated examples with original surfaces may command higher prices, especially if they receive strong grades from respected third-party grading services. Verified mint error coins or exceptionally preserved examples can attract significantly greater collector attention because they are far less common than ordinary circulation strikes. Auction results and private sales have occasionally demonstrated that genuinely rare combinations of high-grade and authenticated mint errors may reach impressive values. But every sale depends on rarity, eye appeal, certification, buyer interest, and current market conditions rather than any predictable formula. It is important to remember that every price discussed for a 1988 Lincoln cent should be viewed as an estimate drawn from collector discussions, published market observations, auction records, and actual sales of comparable coins rather than as a guarantee of future value. The coin market changes continuously as new discoveries appear, grading standards are applied, and collector preferences evolve over time. Before buying or selling any potentially valuable example, experienced collectors recommend obtaining professional authentication and grading to confirm authenticity, identify any legitimate varieties or mint errors, and provide an objective assessment of condition. Taking these careful steps helps reduce uncertainty while allowing both buyers and sellers to make informed decisions supported by recognized numismatic standards.